Hey guys, so today I'm continuing the back to school videos, and this is going to be on some study tips and tricks and stuff like that. So there are 4 things that I'm going to be covering: preparing for studying, beginning to study, remembering the information, and then test or exam time. So section 1, preparing for studying. I'm probably the worst. I usually wait until almost the last minute, so don't do that. So always write your due dates down. If you see my agenda video, I always write my due dates in red so then they stand out from everything else that I'm writing down. Get any notes that you've missed, whether it be from a friend or your teacher. Profs don't usually hand out notes, so you have to find a friend in the lecture. Get those, and then organize your notes. So either do everything week by week, so lecture and textbook note for week 1, week 2, week 3, etc., or all of your lecture notes and then all of your textbook notes. Depending on the course, I will use both techniques. Break up the complicated tasks into smaller things and also set mini deadlines for them. So you'd want to review your material before it's time to study. So whether that means a few minutes after class or on the weekend, just kind of reading through things, which will help when it comes time to actually study. Also, think about how much time each little chunk is going to take. If you're studying for 3 chapters, then how much time is each chapter going to take? Sometimes chapters can be really small, so you can do multiple chapters at once, or sometimes they're really big and you can only focus on one chapter. So kind of give yourself a timeline as to how long it might take to get through all of it. Another super important thing is have an uncluttered, quiet space to study. I can't stress that enough. I can be very messy and unorganized when it comes to my desk and my room, but when I'm trying to study, my desk will be pristine because seeing something on my desk out of place or if it doesn't really belong there, it'll drive me nuts. Section 2, beginning to study. This is not the day before, okay? You're not just studying the day before the test, the night before the test, or exam, whatever. You're giving yourself time, so please remember that. It's so important. So like I said, you're gonna sort your notes, pick up your chapters, and look at the key terms, because key terms relate through the whole chapter, so knowing those and how they relate to the chapter is very helpful. When you're going through your lecture notes, your textbook notes, mark what's giving you trouble. If you're having a hard time remembering it, like memorizing, maybe date orders, stuff like that, just make a note, and then when you finish reading through that set of notes, rewrite that section. So you can do it on a post-it if it's something really small or whatever, but writing it out or saying it out loud will help you to remember it. Put things into your own words. It's really hard to memorize a tough definition if there's so many words in it that you're like, oh wait, what is this again? But trying to put things into your own words will help you remember more. So reduce your notes, your lecture stuff, your textbook stuff to major ideas, key points, maybe some phrases depending on the subject, and you can also create lists. Lists don't work for every class. It depends on what the material is. Take breaks when you're studying. Don't just sit and try and knock it all out in one day. It will just stress you out. You won't retain as much information because you're too busy worrying about cramming it all into your head. So take breaks. Take a 10-15 minute break. Nothing more than half an hour. Okay, half an hour is like pushing it. Take a snack. Go have a snack. That'll help too. Studying/reviewing before bed is okay because the later that you're, well, not the later, but the closer to bed that you read and review material, it actually stays in your brain and you mull it over in your sleep. So even if you've studied like in the morning and now 12 hours later you're in bed, just sit there and kind of read through some of it and it'll mull it over in your brain while you sleep. So it's okay, but don't stay up all night. It just makes you tired, cranky, and it's not fun. It just doesn't work. And also, reward yourself when you're studying. There's a picture I've seen online of a textbook that's got gummy bears on every other paragraph, every other new paragraph, and when you get there, you get a gummy bear. So if you need to do that because your textbook is dense and it's boring, which I've suffered through, do that. Or, I don't know, if you get some studying done a week before the test, go get an ice cream, go get Starbucks, like whatever, but treat yourself and it gives you motivation to do more. Section number 3, remembering the information. So it's all fine and dandy if you can read through all your stuff, but if you're not remembering it, then come test time or exam time, you're going to be sweating bullets. It can be so stressful if you're not remembering the information. So that's why you need to give yourself time to study, so that if you don't remember something, you have time to go over it and don't walk into the test going, oh my god. So what I like to do while I'm reading is my profs would tell me the format of the test. And I think every teacher known to man will tell you what the format is, whether it be multiple choice, true and false, matching, fill in the blanks, which I've all had in university and all suck, short answer, long answer, essay, stuff like that. So when you're reading the information, chances are something that's just a little bit of information is going to be a multiple choice or a fill in the blank or a matching. It's not going to be a long answer question because there's not enough information. So I like to come up with questions while I read, depending on the subject. This is a word that pops up a lot, so it could be a definition for a multiple choice or for a fill in the blank, stuff like that. So answering and coming up with your own questions is really, really helpful. Reading out loud. Hearing something makes it easier to retain than you just kind of looking over it, looking over it, looking over it. I'm someone that when I'm really stuck on something, I have to read it out loud, otherwise I'm just looking at the page like... Something else you can do is write up flashcards or a study guide or a quiz for yourself. I know there are apps and websites where you can generate flashcards or something that pops up that asks you a question. You can create your own multiple choice or short answer and stuff like that. I personally have never spent that much time doing that because I don't give myself that much time to study, like I've admitted already. If you give yourself lots of time, then you can create these things. A study guide would be good, especially if your prof gave you a review sheet. So if you want to spend the time and write out all that information, that's only going to help you. If your prof or teacher gives you any help with the test, take it and run. Move with it, work with it, because they're not going to waste their time handing you a piece of paper if it's not going to help you for the test. Also, study groups. I have a love-hate relationship with study groups. If I'm not prepared, if I don't feel prepared for the test, chances are I can't do a study group because everyone else will know something and I'm sitting there going, oh my god, I can't remember this, Other times, it helps if I don't know much. I just go in, hear what everyone's talking about. So study groups can be good or bad depending on your study habits. So choose wisely whether or not you join a study group. If it's going to help you, then do it. If you're not prepared for it, you don't know if it's going to help, don't waste your time. Teaching somebody else. I know sometimes even when I have a question about something, if I ask it out loud to somebody, I'm kind of like, oh wait, is this and this? I find that teaching somebody else something that I feel comfortable with does help me remember it more. And then there's some memory techniques that you guys can use. Association, so associating a term with something else. New info with old info that you know. Rehearsal, either rewriting stuff, saying it out loud, or just reading it over and over again. Relevance, if it's related to some experience you've had in your life, obviously depending on the class, that can help as well. And then mnemonics, whether you're doing abbreviations for terms or acronyms. Number 4, test or exam time. Breathe, have a bottle of water, make sure you got lots of pens, lots of pencils, erasers, whatever you need for the exam or the test. Stay calm. Don't freak out. What I like to do is I read through the test first, I flip through it, especially if it's something that I'm a little more nervous about, and you kind of get an idea of what's going to be asked from you, and then you can kind of mull things over and go to the beginning. Don't waste time on something you don't know. Don't stare at a question that's like makes no sense to you whatsoever for 15 minutes when you know the rest of the exam or you know the bulk of it. So go through what you know. Also, look at how much weight the question has. So if it's a short answer and there's a question that's worth 2 marks and a question worth 7, chances are you don't need the same amount of information for the first one. Like just maybe 1 or 2 lines will answer it. And then for the 7-mark one, you might want to be trying to write 7 points, depending. So those are my study tips for you that have gotten me through high school and university. So I hope those help. Let me know what you guys do to study, and if you're like me and end up doing it last minute, or if you're someone who gets really stressed out by last minute things and has to plan things in advance, kudos to you, and believe me, I wish I could be like that. But I hope you guys are doing fabulous, and I will have some back to school hair looks and outfit looks for you soon. So I will see you guys in my next video. See ya!